Hey guys, Chris here, and in this video we're going to talk about solo clearing the Diabolos Raid in War of the Visions with sort of a hunk of junk throw together team here. So no EX Tidus, no Auron, no Yuna, no premium units, and actually no level 120 units at all or even level 115. Primarily in this video, we're going to talk about a slash casserole or Slasherole as I've dubbed it. Reason being is that slash damage chaining is the easiest team to put together for most accounts. You can see my team here, which will break down the strategy choices on gear, vision cards, and slots and abilities here in a second. Now, Dr. Diggs made a fantastic video covering a few other compositions like holy magic, dark chaining, water chaining. He breaks these down, the strategy for these teams really well, so if you're looking for some alternate compositions, I can link that in the description below. The last thing is that I do think that this raid is extremely difficult to one-shot at level 100 if you don't have at least some maxed out gear and vision cards, which we'll talk about as we get into the video. If you guys like the video, do that YouTube thing and let's jump into it. Okay, first we need to talk about the two main threats with this raid. The first threat is going to be we have to do enough damage in order to kill the boss by the amount of turns that you're given, and that's kind of the obvious thing. The boss has 130,000 HP. You get about 16 turns, just assuming all your units will cast buffs on their first turn. That means you have to do 8,125 damage per turn. So it's going to be extremely important to deal with the damage cap on this mission. So there's a few cards that you can use to do this. Number one, I'm using Tetra Sylphid just because I have wind units, and you see the wind unit damage limit up right here. So this allows Oldoa and Yerma to go over the damage limit. But obviously the most common card that gets used for this will be the two-headed dragon that you can level up, and you can probably get somewhere close to about 2,000 up on the damage limit. Maxed out, I think it's 2,500. If you don't have the two-headed dragon for this, or you don't have Tetra Sylphid and you're not running wind units, you can always use the MR variant, which will be the Mind Flayer. This will go up to 2,000 damage limit as well. Because we have to do 8,000 damage per turn, this damage limit will end up being extremely important, which you guys will see when we get into the run here. Second of all, the biggest threat in this Diabolos raid is going to be magic damage. We have to prevent our units from getting killed, and when you don't have EX units that can just soak all this damage, we have to find alternate ways. Number one is it's almost necessary to run the Fenrir card here. With this magic attack resistance, you see I only have a level 85 Fenrir card, so this isn't even maxed out, but this magic attack resistance will help keep your units alive throughout the course of this fight. And then second of all, any magic attack resistance gear that you have, or spirit gear, you'll find out that the elementals will be your biggest problem here, because Diabolos will spread out the damage to all of your units, but the elementals will go after specific units that they can do the most damage to. So in my case, this was Cecil and Oldoa are the two units that will take the most damage. They will be in slots 3 and 4, will take the most damage because those will most likely be the units on the side where the elementals will survive on our strategy here. So I've stacked Oldoa with Tidus Necklace here. You can use whatever you need to in terms of like a smart coat or something else that has high spirit and has magic resistance on it. The second part about this team composition is I want to talk about agility cards. Now, I run this card in pretty much every raid that I do, but most people always comment, oh, it's nice to have a 99 of this card. Well, you got to have some kind of agility card, and I know this card's limited, but a lot of people do have this Black Rose of the Battlefield card leveled up. The only thing I don't like about this is that it's a magic card, so it doesn't help you in attack or slash comps, but this has the same agility bonus. If you don't have either of these cards leveled up, I highly suggest that you go in and get your Chocobo card maxed out. So go into the Mog shop, use your MR Vision Card Soul Medals, grab shards for this and max this out. This ends up giving you, I believe, agility plus 10. It has an equal magic and attack bonus here, so it's good for all kinds of teams. And then you also get a nice little defense bonus, which won't help us on this raid, but this is a really nice card to have if you don't have other agility cards. Agility cards always great for more turns. Definitely not necessary though. Like I've seen a couple of the other content creators aren't running agility cards on this. I just like running agility cards to increase that chaining damage. Okay, lastly, the Odin card. This is just for this unit attack resistance up. This is to help keep our units alive. We're going to see that in the run here. The drain abilities from those elementals can hurt an awful lot if you don't actually mitigate that damage. So I've tried to run different things like slash attack increased, like the Moraga card or secret orders in this slot, and I find out that my units just die. So I can't run something. I need to keep them alive. The next thing I want to talk about is the units here. Everybody has Tidus. You should be running Tidus because he is the highest bonus. For this video, we're assuming you don't have Auron, and we're assuming you're not running like a Yuna Sakura team. So we're bare bones here. We're running Tidus. I have him at level 89. I have not bought a single shard for Tidus with Vizor, and I have him at level 89. So I'm going to assume that everybody out there has at minimum a level 89 Tidus that you can throw in here. For his abilities, I've turned off absolutely everything except for Critical Pass, Hastega, and then Delay Buster. And the reason for this is Hastega actually makes sure that Yerma gets a turn first and she can get her limit break out. So you don't have to leave Hastega on. You might want to leave Cheer or let him use a TMR ability if you want him to gather more AP. Critical Pass and Delay Buster are just super low AP abilities, so I leave those two on. I don't want him wasting a bunch of AP on his other abilities, including his limit break. I turned his limit break off. So Tidus, pretty straightforward. He should be able to get to the damage cap a couple times during this fight, so we'll see how that goes. The next unit I want to talk about is Cecil. Pretty much all free-to-play or casual players who have been playing since this Final Fantasy IV event should have Cecil at 99. He is fantastic for this raid. He has an AoE ability, which is necessary, which we're going to talk about in a second. And he's also a light slashing unit, so he does extra damage to Diabolos all the way around. Fantastic unit for this raid. You want to make sure that he has the AP to use his AoE ability on his first turn. Now for the other two units, you're pretty much just going to put your best slash units in these last two slots. Now, from what I think in the testing that I've done, you need at least one unit that will have EX in order to break that damage cap. So you see I have Oldoa here. The only reason that she's valuable here is because she's breaking that damage cap. And then you'll want at least one or maybe even two imperils. So if you have Gilgamesh, for example, Diggs talks about in his video, you have to run him in the third slot so that his Kotetsu hits the boss right away. You want that slash attack imperil right off the bat, and then you want another imperil, something like elemental imperil. So if you have Laswell and you're running Gilgamesh, make sure you let Laswell use his ice imperil. I'm going to be using Yerma because she has the single best imperil in the game. In my opinion, it's just all attacks that are single target do 38% extra damage. So I'll be running two different imperils. You have Yerma's imperil in this team, and then I also have Oldoa's defense down. So ideally you have two different imperils. Defense penetration does not help you here, so you only need to inflict imperils on Diabolos. Defense down, not defense penetration, complete difference. So Venera's armor cleaver, Oldoa's armor cleaver, or Landu's armor crush, stuff like that can reduce defense, and then either an elemental or unit attack imperil like Yerma's or Laswell's elemental imperil or Landu's elemental imperil, so on and so forth. Okay, lastly, I mentioned that AoE attack, and this is going to be extremely important. I have Cecil set up to use the AoE attack at some point during this fight, and we're going to see why that's really important. There's a lot of different units that can do slash AoE attacks. El Sorel probably the best one with maiming slash, but there's plenty of other slash units that can do AoE attacks. Okay, so let's go through the raid here. Actual run. So Revitalize right off the bat. I like putting Revitalize and the bells on your EX unit because this is going to be a unit doing the most damage. You need that unit to keep hitting the damage cap. That's why I have this on Oldoa. Cecil's TMR, one of the best in the game, in my opinion, at building AP. That's why I like using it in raids on units, not only for that attack and magic buff, but for also that AP gain on whatever unit uses it. So Hastega from Tidus just to build AP. Again, War Maiden's Vitality on Cecil. Really important that he has enough AP to use his AoE ability, as we'll see. So all these little elementals, they move up. They're going to cast Drain on your units. 374, this is why I have the Odin card. We're going to see how close Yerma gets to dying eventually in this run. Then also Cecil. Actually, I think Cecil will die on this run. I think he dies on most runs. So So here's the Delay Buster from Tidus. One of the reasons why also I leave Delay Buster on and don't just use Critical Pass. Critical Pass will do more damage, but Tidus was standing too far back, so I had to put Delay Buster on so that he runs up and gets a little bit closer. So here's the Soaring Axe Slash from Yerma. This is the Imperil that we talked about, so whatever unit you have using an Imperil, make sure they get that on Diabolos early. And Oldoa's Limit Break. Be honest in the comments section below how many people have actually watched the animation for this Limit Break before. So you guys just missed it there, but 14,499 damage. That's why that EX unit's so important for that damage cap. Vision cards and EX units. There's Tidus, he didn't get the critical hit there. So here's the AoE. So this AoE is always going to be on that bottom side down here on these ones, because these ones will stack up with Diabolos. It allows you to kill these two and hit Diabolos with this AoE. This is why I think it's so important to use an AoE ability for this raid. So here comes Oldoa again. She's going to hit the damage cap. So we see, yep, 14,499. Again, EX units get higher damage cap using the two-headed dragon. Whatever cards you can use to increase that damage cap, make sure you do it. We got to hit that 8,000 damage per turn. Now the elementals will move up. If you have one unit that's too weak to magic damage, those elementals will all target the same unit and they're going to take them out. Drain, that's fine. Drain on Oldoa, that's fine. Again, that Odin card helping us there. Here again is that damage cap. This is a non-EX unit, so make sure we're hitting over that damage cap on some of our attacks. Oldoa's probably going to hit the damage cap again. Yep, max damage. And now here's Tidus. This is just an 89 Tidus. This isn't even his critical pass ability. This is Delay Buster hitting the damage cap as well. That's why the Imperil's so important with defense down, unit attack down. So this is actually really important right here. Cecil only had 14 AP here. I found out that if I was using his Holy Knight sub job, he would not get an attack here. And this is actually critical to completing this in one run. So I changed his sub job to Soldier so that he could use Paralyzing Edge and use his remaining AP to actually get an extra 10,000 damage there. Huge, huge adjustment. So make sure as you guys are doing your raids too, that you adjust things on the fly like that and find opportunities where you can do more damage. So Cecil's going to go down here, and this is where the Odin card I found out was absolutely huge. I had to have this Odin card to keep both Oldoa and Yerma alive. You can see how low their HP is right here. Really low HP, and if I didn't have that Odin card, they keep going down. This is also why magic defense is so important to keep your units alive throughout this raid. So Tidus at AP just does a basic attack, and we actually might do this with an extra action left. So there you go, guys. Slasherole team. Hopefully talking through the strategy of this helped you guys out. Hopefully you guys can find a team, just any slash team of the units that you have in your composition that can help you complete this raid. This should be a pretty easy raid to complete. For most players, especially new players, don't stress too much about completing this raid in one run. 2 runs, you can probably do it with the bonus unit of Tidus. You could probably do this with 2 runs and end up getting that +5 coat if you farm pretty regularly throughout the next week. Anyway, hope this video helped you guys, and we'll catch you next time.